Hello everybody and welcome to another tutorial in camera and lens repair. And this time I've actually, think about that there was something wrong with the aperture setting in the Contax Yashica lenses and also the Zeiss lenses. And a friend of mine asked me if I could take a look at uh, this lens, and because if the lens, the no, the aperture ring was set to something like, 1.4 or so, it would set it was on 3.5 or so. Well, it's not correct, of course. And I take this old Contax RTS SLR camera and take it to simply figure out what's going on here. And there was something wrong because it's, if we take the lens here, set it into 1.4, put it on the camera here, in the viewfinder, it would say 1.4 and so on all the way up to 16. But it was not quite what happened. So I checked it with another lens, which is the 50mm 1.7, and it did the same, kind of. But it doesn't, it was not, if I set it to 1.7 all the way up here, it would not show the correct aperture in the viewfinder. So the next thing I found out, could it be the camera that was something wrong with? Yeah, it was. And in this case, I have not much experience with the Contax SLR cameras, but in this case, this one was, you can see it has to be quite active when you pull it over to one side, and it will just drop back to it what it started and where it should sit. So the little tab here was actually bent that way, I mean downwards, by accident. So I just push it upward with a little screwdriver, and then this the camera was actually show the correct aperture in the viewfinder. But there was another thing. If you actually try to disassemble one of those lenses, or this one, there is a problem, because it took me some time to figure out how does it actually work. You see this ring here made of plastic all the way around here. It will say not the outer actually bayonet plate, but this the plastic in here. Also with this little tab, this little ring will, when you go into the lens and you also take off the bayonet here, unscrew the 3 screws here, it will come out. But the thing, and the important thing, is this ring will just move. Not very much, but it will move. So it will came out of the correct adjustment. It's the same with this one. It's actually the same ring here around. But if we look here, hopefully you can see it. If we compare to the two lenses, it will say it is, this ring here is more closer to this screw than this one. So it's a problem, because now I have adjusted. So I will just show you how it works. So let's take it apart, and if I before, and that's the important thing I was into. See, before you unscrew the bayonet here with the 3 screws, it is important because there's no service manual for those lenses. So it's important to set a scratch here on the outside here, just a tiny one, so you will know the exact position of this plastic ring before you take out the aperture. I mean the bayonet. Because if you do not do that, you will have a wrong aperture setting. If you look into the viewfinder of the camera, and this little tab here is actually pushing on this and show high or low number of aperture, what actually is on the lens. And it's the same with the 1.7 millimeter lens. No, not the 1.7 millimeter, no, the 50 millimeter 1.7. So it is. But if we look to the older lens, it's different made, and it has a kind of a bar here sit with 2 screws, and it will on this side here push on this lever in here, and in that way show the correct setting. But on the other hand, if it's not correct, well, you need to adjust in here. Over here you see some screws in here. I will not dig into that, because the main reason I would like to make this video is if the plastic thingy here is not sitting correct. So I can actually try to, before taking it apart, I mean I've already done it, so one have to remember setting a scratch in here, and I will show you how it looks inside. It will be the exact same thing for the 1.7 lens, so there is no problem with that. But if I take the ring here off, sit with 3 screws, and before I fully take it off, I will just loosen it a little. So now we can then see what's happened. If when the camera is, I mean the lens is putting into the mount, it will push on the lever. But if this ring is sitting wrong, you see it can move a lot. And if it sits correct, you will have the wrong aperture showing in the camera. So it's important to have this sit correct. So the tab here is, when you put it on, it will be connected and push the lens. I mean this plastic ring here. So when you turn the actual aperture ring, it will also, because of another arm, which will be this one here. So this one will also show the correct setting. Not this one, but this one will, when you move the aperture ring, you can see it here. This here will, when I turn it, it will move this pin. And this pin will of course, not of course, but it will push on this and change how you see the aperture in the viewfinder. We cannot see it here, but well, if you have another Contax SLR, this one will probably be in a different way than this one here. So it's important, but I'll just show you how it looks if we look into here without the bayonet, and then we can take it off. It can only sit in one way. So now here we can see how this plastic ring is moving, and it can actually move a lot. So one, see, it's not up here, it's more on this little pin here and on the other. So it will stop at this point, and it will, when I move the ring, it will stop over here. But it's quite a lot. You can move this ring, and if it sits wrong, you have the wrong aperture showing in your viewfinder. That's why I set the mark here, and it should be the same when you put this mount on again. So we have the correct aperture setting. So we can just put it on here. You see there is a little resistance because of this aperture lever. So what you have to put this over, and when you set your mark, well, it should be something like here. It's better to just put in one screw, so it's a little more tight, and then you can move the plastic ringy. Don't tighten it too much, just a little, so you can move this ring. But let's see how it is. So if I move this ring here, see, it's quite a lot. So when it sits correct, I can then tighten the one screw up here, and in that way I can just put the rest of the screws in. So there it is, and the last screw. So this is how you actually adjust the, and yeah, well, this is how you actually adjust it. And if you by accident do not set a mark here before you take this ring off, you could then, put in all the screws, but don't tighten them too much. And then you can move the ring just a little, then put it on the camera, and then by trial and error see where it ended up. And let's say it stays on 1.4, or maybe 2.8 is better, because then you will see the numbers in the viewfinder if this one is sitting correct. If not, you could end it up with you have to turn it a bit one way or the other before you actually tighten the screws so to the correct position. I hope you get it. So that's what was my little point with this. It's the same with this one. That was all for me. So I hope you can actually use this little video for your adjustment. See you sooner. Bye bye.